Hello, Assalamu alaikum. I am Dr. Jamshed Mumtaz here, Senior Registrar Medical Unit 3, Allied Hospital, Faisalabad. The topic of today's discussion is interstitial lung disease. Interstitial lung disease is primarily refers to the heterogeneous collection of more than 100 distinct lung disorders that tends to be grouped together because they share clinical, radiographic, and pathological features. Mainly, the patients present with dyspnea and late inspiratory crackles on chest examination, and on radiologically there is uh, interstitial infiltrates bilaterally. These disorders, sometimes also called diffuse parenchymal lung disease, to make the point the interstitium is not only the compartment of lung affected. Here is the chest X-ray shown, in which the lung size is slightly reduced, and there, at the periphery, at the basal zones, there are reticular shadowings. It is a major finding in interstitial lung disease. Here is a slide in which a flow chart is described. Main heading is the interstitial lung disease. On right side, the etiology, and etiology is unknown, and diffuse parenchymal lung disease mainly comprises of this aspect. If the etiology is unknown, it is called idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis, or sometimes it is one of its portion is idiopathic interstitial pneumonias, which has different varieties. Acute interstitial pneumonias, in which the etiology is not known, it is idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis. And other variety is non-interstitial pulmonary fibrosis, which include non-specific interstitial pneumonia, cryptogenic organizing pneumonia, lymphocytic interstitial pneumonias, and acute interstitial pneumonias. Rarely, in which sometimes some types of idiopathic interstitial pneumonias, which is which occurs predominantly in smokers, especially ischemic interstitial pneumonias, or respiratory bronchiolitis interstitial lung disease. Some rare forms of interstitial lung disease include lymphangitis, lymphangitis, myomatosis, or vasculitic diseases also affects the interstitium. Certain other diseases, just like granulomatous disease, sarcoidosis, also uh, comes into the differential diagnosis of interstitial lung disease. Sometimes the connective tissue disorders, just like rheumatoid arthritis, scleroderma, Sjogren syndrome, polymyositis, or dermatomyositis, present as subvariety of interstitial lung disease. Sometimes the adverse reaction of certain drugs, just like certain, just like nitrofurantoin, amiodarone, methotrexate, or chemotherapy, also affects the interstitium, and it causes the little variety of interstitial lung disease. Interstitial lung disease is a broad variety based disease, and in its important differential diagnoses include into the occupational lung disease, or exposure to the extrinsic allergens, or extrinsically exposure to the inorganic and as well as organic exposures. Inorganic exposure includes exposure to the asbestosis, silica, hard metals, or coal dust, while organic exposures, just like the breeding of the birds, farmers, hay, mold, or sometimes the mycobacteria. These exposure to the inorganic and organic exposures um, play in a formation of differential diagnosis of interstitial lung disease. Here we describe the clinical history. The typical presentation of interstitial lung disease is non-specific, but the major presentation is the dyspnea on exertion or cough and abnormal radiograph, or just like CT on chest X-ray, there is overall lung size is reduced, and there is at periphery and at the basis of the lung there is reticular or reticular nodular shadowing is present. Symptoms in interstitial lung disease are usually progressive. Majority of the cases of patients with interstitial lung disease are of the old age. Age is greater than 60 years. Some varieties are more common in women, just like lymphangitic leiomyomatosis. Sometimes the patients with hypersensitivity pneumonitis or eosinophilic pneumonia or sarcoidosis, which affects some portion of the patients, they present with wheezing. While patients of Langer cell histiocytosis or patients of the connective tissue disorders may present with the pleuritic chest pain. If patient is of diffuse alveolar hemorrhages, then the patient may present with hemoptysis. Here is we are discuss the other symptoms. If the connective tissue is involved in the etiology of the interstitial lung disease, then the features of the respective connective tissue disorders may present, just like non-specific symptoms, just as night sweats, fever, fatigue, and weight loss, which all suggest underlying inflammatory condition. If the lung disease is advanced in which the right side of heart is involved, the patient may present with the increasing edema, exertional chest discomfort, which are the manifestation of severe pulmonary hypertension. If the patient is of sarcoidosis, sometimes it may present with the palpitations, or if the conducting system of the heart is affected by the disease sarcoidosis, patient may present with the syncope. Here we describe the important in the history important points in history. If there is past medical history of connective tissue disease or patient of IV drug abusers, then the lymphocytic interstitial pneumonia is the common cause. In certain vasculitic disorders, there is pulmonary renal syndromes which also affects the kidneys, and a particular good history indicates the patient has a pulmonary renal syndrome, which is important differential diagnosis in the making the diagnosis of interstitial pneumonias. If the sometimes patients of the sarcoidosis may present with the coexistence liver disease. Sarcoidosis affects the lungs and liver simultaneously, and sometimes in primary biliary cirrhosis also affects the lungs in rare forms. So, occupational history is important as the exposure to the inorganic substances as well as organic substances may lead to the finding resemblance to the idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis, and in which the treatment is the removal of the patient from the occupational exposure. Next is important is the medication history. If a patient is using antibiotics just like nitrofurantoins or antiarrhythmics just like amiodarons, or there is previous history of the chemotherapy, or the patient has been using immune modulating drugs, it may help us to identify whether these findings are due to exogenous causes or the medication therapies. Here we describe the findings on physical examination. On physical examination, there may be typical Velcro crepes. Velcro crepes means if we open the closed blood pressure apparatus, then the cracking sound is produced, which is called crepes of Velcro. In idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis, uh, there is bilateral at the lung basis. There are and late inspiratory crackles are present. Our inspiratory squeaks can present in cryptogenic organizing pneumonias, while physical findings, just like clubbing, may present in idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis, dyschematic interstitial pneumonias, or inflammatory bowel disease. On general physical examination, in dermatological manifestations, sarcoidosis, connective tissue disorders, vasculitic and tuberous sclerosis may, may have the skin involvement. Patient may have arthritis, has diffuse joint inflammations, and more commonly the joint involvement occurs in connective tissue disorders and sarcoidosis. Eye changes, just like uveitis and conjunctivitis, may occur in certain diseases, just like sarcoidosis, connective tissue disorders, while muscular weakness, proximal myopathy, and with tenderness on examination may present in polymyositis and dermatomyositis. Patient may present with the neuropathy, and neuropathy present in uh, diseases, sarcoidosis, connective tissue disorders. Patients of sarcoidosis and connective tissue disorders may present with the lymphadenopathy. Now we come to the lab investigations. First of all, we do the simple complete blood picture. In complete blood picture, there is a peripheral eosinophilia which occurs, chronic eosinophilic pneumonia, Churg-Strauss syndromes, or drug reaction. In sarcoidosis, there may be lymphopenia, while neutrophilia occurs in hypersensitivity pneumonitis. If the patient is a pulmonary renal syndrome, there may be renal insufficiency. If the cause sometimes is due to sarcoidosis, in which there may be hypercalcemia or elevated liver enzymes, or serum ACE enzyme levels are may be raised in sarcoidosis. Next is the chest imaging. Usually the abnormal chest radiograph is the first indication of underlying lung disease. In, in interstitial lung disease, the interstitium is affected and overall lung size is decreased. But in some certain diseases, just like sarcoidosis, connective tissue disorders, respiratory bronchiolitis, interstitial lung disease, the chest imaging may be normal. HRCT, which is if the patient has symptoms but has normal chest radiographs, HRCT is more sensitive than the normal chest, plain chest X-rays. In interstitial lung disease, mainly the variety of usual interstitial pneumonias, there are the characteristic radiographic findings are present, in which the reticular findings are traction bronchiectasis, honeycombing are present mainly in the peripheral, subpleural, and basal predominant. If the patient has these findings, then the case is of idiopathic interstitial pneumonias or diffuse parenchymal lung disease. Next, here is we describe the CT scan of chest in which the peripheral reticular markings are present, and occasionally small pleural cysts are just like honeycombing are present, and hence by these findings we can certainly can say the patient has idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis. Here next chest X-ray chest CT chest in which the ground glass opacities are present in the peripheral distributions and reticular markings are present. It is a CT scan of patients having non-specific interstitial pneumonias. Here is the ground glass opacities and areas of consolidation in a 50-year-old woman with organizing pneumonia secondary to radiation for breast cancer. Pulmonary function test in which in patients in which the CT scan and chest radiography does not demonstrate any significant findings. Sometimes the pulmonary function test helps to identify the underlying lung disease. Most forms of interstitial lung disease demonstrate a restrictive pattern due to the decreased compliance and increased recoil of parenchyma. In restrictive ventilatory defect, there is simultaneously decrease in FEV1 to FVC ratio, which are both are equally reduced, in which the ratio of the FEV1 and FVC is greater than the obstructed diseases, and it is usually normal. FEV1 FVC ratio is usually normal or increased in restrictive lung disease, while as the presence of obstruction may present there, but the concomitant obstructive lung disease, there is uh, other diseases just like Langerhans cell histiocytosis, sarcoidosis, or lymphangitis, leiomyomatosis. There may be some presence of obstruction. Next, if we are unable to find the underlying etiology, but after doing the CT chest or uh, pulmonary function test, then the next investigation is bronchoscopy. In which bronchoscopy, in which the inspection of the upper and lower airways done, and bronchoalveolar lavage taken, and in bronchial alveolar lavage findings, we determine the cell count and differential counts. We make the cytology and viral assays or microbial cultures helps to differentiate whether there may be infection just like pneumocystis jirovecii or microbacterial infection is there, and which lies in an important differential diagnosis of interstitial lung disease. Sometimes uh, the surgical lung biopsy also helps, and it It is important in making the correct diagnosis. Transbronchial biopsy is most important in making the diagnosis of idiopathic interstitial pneumonia such as idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis, non-specific interstitial pneumonia, lymphocytic interstitial pneumonias. Here is the surgical biopsy is required. Sometimes video-assisted thoracoscopy has a limited role, and it is important in certain patients because it has low morbidity and mortality in selected populations. Here we come to the treatment. Treatment is usually if the patient we identify the definite etiology, exposure to the exogenous organic and inorganic substances, removal of these uh, exogenous insults from the patients may helpful in reducing the symptoms. Sorry. Next treatment is the immunosuppressive therapy. Before going to the immunosuppressive therapy, we briefly discuss role of the steroid. Steroids are important in the prognosis in certain types of idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis, in which the usual interstitial pneumonias, non-specific interstitial pneumonias, and cryptogenic organizing pneumonias, patient may benefit from the prednisolone or steroid therapies. It is shown by certain researches that immunosuppressive therapy, just like cyclosporin, azathioprine, may limited role in certain patients. Next, the treatment is antifibrotic drugs. Antifibrotic drugs are uh, are important in certain, mainly in the usual interstitial pneumonias. Pirfenidone is important drug which decreases the fibrosis of lungs, and there sometimes the tyrosine kinase inhibitor nintedanib helpful in decreasing the disease progression. In addition to the antifibrotics, the palliative treatments, just like graded exercises, are um, passive immunizations of influenza or pneumococcal, helpful in decreasing the symptoms or may increase in the functional status of the patient. If the patient has decreased lung functions and patient develop hypoxemia, then the domiciliary oxygen may helpful in selected patients. Next, the treatment is lung transplantation. If the patient develops end-stage respiratory failure, then the only treatment here is the lung transplantation. Lung transplantation can cure the disease, and here we again some slides which shows the immunosuppressive therapies, just like azathioprine, cyclophosphamide, limited LOL, and if there is no improvement in symptoms after 3 to 6 months of therapy, then the discontinuation of immunosuppressive therapy should be strongly considered. Here is the slide which shows the antifibrotic drugs, in which the pirfenidone, which is a small molecular drug, have antifibrotic properties. It stabilizes the lung function. Here is the last treatment which I already described. Most patients with interstitial lung disease referred for lung transplantation have idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis. A severely impaired DLCO less than 39%, as well as advanced fibrosis on HRCT predict poor survival, are considered to be trigger for active listing. Early referred to the lung transplant center is useful. Thank you.